Smoking Bishop is the soap today, and that's why you don't try to manage too many things with two hands. Smoking Bishop is the soap from Barrister and Mann. It was a holiday offering new for 2022 holiday season. And my titanium timeless is what took the dive into the sink. Fortunately, sink is more likely to get hurt than that razor, but we'll definitely check it out. This is a nice find on eBay. A nice big pipe. I'm enjoying the way it smokes and the look of it and all that, and it didn't cost very much. It's kind of like our shaving hobby. There are ways to get things that smoke great and don't cost too much. There are inexpensive tobaccos that still smoke pretty well, that taste great, and just like we have Gillette Techs and other inexpensive razors that will still give you an amazing shave. You don't have to buy something expensive. Cue the timeless. This is the timeless titanium razor. It's the solid bar, the smooth bar, and is the 68 gap. Let's just do a quick check on everything. I mean, I doubt my sink is gonna, dent a titanium razor. Yep, everything looks good. The Gillette Platinum is going to be the blade we put in the razor today, and then the brush is going to be this graphite in color, lotus in handle shape, Paladin brush. Details will be in the description of the video. I think I usually post a knot code in there with it because that is important for Paladin brushes. They have a much more complicated knot code system than, say, the batch numbers of Declaration Grooming, for instance, and the version numbers of the Fanchurian knots from Chisel and Hound. Here's the Gillette Platinum blade. According to the markings on the envelope, this may just be its second shave. Let's go ahead and load it up. Smoking Bishop, I happen to be here in the bathroom enjoying a little bit of pipe and tobacco, and then I realized, hey, Smoking Bishop is a great one to use. Now, and that's name only. It's not really a big tobacco scent. It's not named after like a churchman who was smoking. The Smoking Bishop, if you look in the Christmas holiday history traditions in the UK, in England, I believe, this was a beverage, a popular drink, like a mulled type of drink, maybe warm thing. And this is an unused tub. I bought it from Barrister and Mann because I ordered the sample around the season, and I used it on my channel a few times. I really, really enjoyed it. And so I waited around to see if anybody was going to let loose and put a used tub of this online on the secondary market, but nobody was. And so I started thinking maybe I should go ahead and buy it because, once it's gone, it might be a year before it comes back again. And so that's why I have Smoking Bishop. You can read the description in the video in terms of the scent notes. I just find it warm, a little bit warm, kind of woody. If there's a tobacco piece in there, then it's small and just helps the scent to be grounded. There's some sweet fruits, almost like plums or something like that in there, but it's not obnoxious at all. Everything is kind of low key and they work in conjunction with each other, and so nothing jumps out and says, I'm this kind of scent. I think the tobacco smell that's here in the bathroom is interfering with my full apprehension of this scent, and so that'll be fun. I'll be smelling it in a different way this time. The brush, I don't know if I like the Lotus handle for sure yet. My guess is that no, it's not going to be the Paladin handle that I really enjoy. but I'm going to give it some uses and see. The knot here is a Paladin knot, and so far I've got a few Paladin brushes because I'm searching. I like the Paladin kind of brand that they've got going. I like they've been around for a little while. They've given us different batches. They're kind of a classy looking arrangement. The handle shapes and all this stuff. And so I kind of want to have a Paladin in my den that I enjoy and want to use. But so far, they kind of fall in two different camps. Either they're so dense that they have way too much backbone and I can't enjoy them, or they are kind of fold over and they don't have enough backbone, and they almost feel like a mop, just because it's just tilted. It's never really keeping those nice tips on your face. And then sometimes the tips also are on a either or kind of dichotomy. Either they have too much natural feel and I wish they were softer and they don't feel luxurious, or they are super soft. And the good thing is that if they are soft, I haven't really had any Paladin brushes that were overly soft. But the problem is the ones that are over here, I don't like the ones that are over here that have too much feel to them. They don't have that kind of softness, luxury that I want. I don't want anything scritchy or scrubby or anything like that. The ones that I have found where I love the tips, back at that other spectrum I told you about, they have the backbone. They have those wonderful soft tips, but they have this nasty density and backbone that makes me not be able to enjoy those tips fully. And so then I have to move that brush along. So, let me get my face wet. We've got the blade in the razor. I'll probably use my Agar after this because I think this scent is going to be one that I enjoy, and the Agar should work with it and not really against it. It shouldn't overwhelm anything on the soap scent, because I do feel like I might want to carry this soap scent after the shave as long as I could. So another product I could use would be an unscented, kind of balm. Another one would be a witch hazel solution, a toner like the Thayer's. They have an alcohol-free and one that's unscented. So obviously that can care for my skin after the shave and still preserve a little bit of that scent of the soap that I used. The water temperature here is still really quite cold. We're in kind of the middle of February, which is to be expected. However, it's strange because the last couple of days, we even had to turn the air conditioner on. One of the days, because I think it almost got up to 80, which is just crazy for this time of year. Let's load. Barrister and Mann is usually a reasonable type soap. You don't have to load it for an excessively long time. 30 seconds should be plenty. And these tips I had in my notes. I checked on this knot. It said, I wish the tips were a little bit softer, but maybe more soaps are worth a try to see how it feels, give it more of a chance to come out. And I didn't like the density. I thought it gave it too much backbone. And so the knot here may be the weak point in this, even if I do actually like the Lotus handle. But we'll just see. And visually speaking, we've had it soaking for a while and they haven't gelled up or anything. So we are talking about some tips that are not feeling too artificially soft. Now, if I were to use this brush only for years and years and years, the tips would become that kind of soft. Okay. 20 seconds, 25 seconds. 25 seconds sounds good. And 20 rolled around right there on the clock. And so we're going to go to 45 so that we'll have a 25-second load. Maybe 40. Because look, we've got, let's go to 45. Just to be sure. We've got the wetness there, creating a very light, airy type of lather. Early proto-lather. People use words like proto-lather, and there's something called an uber lather. I think that, though, is where somebody takes a soap and then they'll load with the soap and then they'll put a little bit of some kind of cream and add it to the mix to make their lather behave better. And they call it an uber lather, as if it's giving them some kind of slickness or creaminess that they couldn't get with the soap itself. And that just kind of makes me chuckle, because I haven't yet met a cream that is better than a soap at giving you slickness and creaminess. They're just not as good. There are a few that are as good as some soaps, but I haven't met a single one, and I've tried a good many. I haven't met a single one, and this is advice that I have. These are conversations I've had with other people as well, and they agree that soaps are able to just be slicker in general. And so why would you then bring a cream and put it on top of a soap's lather to try to improve it? You're only going to... I think what it is that people's lathering skills are poor in those kind of cases. Maybe they are running their lather way too dry, and so the cream comes in and brings more wetness, and what they don't know is that it's the wetness they need to add into their soap's lather and not a cream, because that's almost like you having a tug of war and you bring in a guy who's weaker than other people in to be on your team, to trying to add a cream to your soap's lather. And so I think it's just the fact that they just don't have a good lather game, and they just don't know it. Because, man, I just get great slickness from all manner of good soaps. Now, I could understand if you had a crappy soap. So then you were trying to, and you had a decent cream. So then you were using the cream to help the soap out. I could see that, but I don't think that's what these guys are doing. I think they're really proud of their soap, and then some days they just feel like turning it on to turbo and adding a cream to it. Oh yeah, the scent here. It is working with the cloud of tobacco type scent that I've got in the bathroom here. Since this is the switch subjects right quick, the performance of the soap. This is the base that is his newest one, Omnibus. I need to remember not to quite take it as wet as I usually do. I may need to go back and load for a little bit longer. I don't have a whole lot working up in my bowl here at this stage. Yeah, that's just really nice. It's even better when I'm not smoking tobacco around it, I think, because there are pieces to the scent that I remember from the sample that I'm not getting right now. I think we're going to have enough to get the job done, but we're not going to have a ton, it seems. It's looking nice. I'm tempted to add just a little bit more water, but let's wait. We can tweak it during the shave. I'm actually going to leave the little bit that's on my face right there. I'm just going to add just a few drops of water to it so that it can also help with my lather, where I don't actually have a ton of lather built up. But I bet it'll be all right. So I've been using that boar brush, the B35 lately, from Zenith. And so the Badger does feel a little strange. I do feel that density I was talking about in my notes. The tips are almost soft. That might be where I put them on the spectrum. If you like a little bit of a scrubbing action, but not a lot of a scrubbing action, then these tips might just be perfect for you. Again, I don't think I'm liking the Lotus handle here. It's just too sharp. See that? If I angle it right, yeah, see how that comes to kind of that ridge that the handle makes. It does make it nice and grabby, but it's not comfortable compared to so many other brushes that we have. Oh, see, there we go. Now, we are working and maturing the lather here. You can see it getting a little more solid and more opaque than it started out. So I could add some more water to it. Let's add just a few sprinkles to the brush here. You know, it's funny, I've seen YouTube guys talk about how slick looking and how much a lather has sheen. And what they'll do is they'll spend several minutes taking an overly loaded brush with this dry lather. It's not even really a lather, it's just the dry cream or the very pasty lather. They'll spend a while working that into their skin, and then at the very end they'll put some water on the brush and they'll just kind of do the top part of the lather so that it looks nice and kind of pops with the sheen. But that's not really doing anything, because they've painted it on so thick that they're only affecting that top coat. That's a nice looking lather here. They're only affecting that top coat. And that is not very helpful in the shaving process. The scent here is a little more nuanced, and so the strong tobacco notes that I've got in the bathroom here are actually overwhelming the scent that's on my face. So we'll just have to enjoy the scent, the performance of the soap today instead of the scent. Can't remember if the Gillette Platinum here works well with this razor or not. Lather needs more water. I feel like a little bit more slickness is available. Just kind of feels it's slower and it feels drier here. A little bit over 24-hour shave, you know, maybe 30 hours or something like that. So, you know, kind of normal. Not too far away from a normal shave. Let's get that rinse going. Added some more water to the bowl during the break, and now I'm going to mix it up and make sure it's well integrated. With this Omnibus, it may just take some uses to really get to where I can identify the right landmarks for when to stop adding water. The good news is, as I now recall, even if I add too much water, it still works really well. It's still very slick. It may just have no creaminess to it, but it's still really quite slick and a high performance lather. Look at that. Yeah, see, we don't really have any contours. Almost looks like a light bulb. See, that's very different than what I was showing you a minute ago. So this is more what I like, because this is more hydrated. So I don't like the Lotus handle, as it turns out. So now we're just kind of looking at this knot to see if maybe I want to try to find another handle with a similar knot code as this one. Second pass. Oh, that's better. That's better. There's that slickness. Razor moving quickly. It doesn't feel dry. Relatively dry. Moving through the stubble easily. Very comfortable. I love this 68 gap here because it still is quite efficient, but it's highly comfortable with so many different blades. The water splash now. So the irony is, don't smoke in an area where you're going to use smoking bishop because it's a nuanced, softer scent that I really love, and unfortunately the smoking actually is getting in the way. While this is a new base from Barrister and Mann, the Omnibus base here, relatively new, it's not that same fuzzy kind of slickness that milk steak can sometimes have. And recently I used the Black Watch, has the Highland base from Seaforth, Spearhead. Both of those are kind of I call them a fuzzy kind of softness. The lather itself, it just looks different, feels different. It's very slick. It gets the job done, but it's just almost like an oily or buttery kind of slickness. And this Omnibus is not in that same family, even though Will, I'm pretty sure some of his goals are the same as the people who developed Milk Steak and the Highland Soap Base. Their goals are to help with hydration and moisturization of your skin, and they're putting in those ingredients to help with that. And so Will is doing the same thing with this, I believe, but it's just a different, I don't get that same fuzziness. So I think I probably like Omnibus a little better than those other two bases for that reason. There's kind of that pure slickness, like the Fine Accoutrements Classic Puck, Tobacco, some of those guys. A really fine-tuned Williams lather is just the ultimate in slickness. It competes with anybody else in terms of pure slickness. And on the other side, you've got the fuzzy kind of slickness, like the Highland base, and Milk Steak, and a few others that are similar. And Omnibus, I think, is kind of in the middle. It's riding that line, and so I think that's why I like it better than the Milk Steak. Rinse. So at the beginning, I didn't think I had too much lather. I was wrong. I've done 3 passes. The first one even was more concentrated. That pass, the amount I used on that first pass might even been enough for 1.5 or 2 passes. And I've still got like a pass in the brush and like 2 passes in the bowl. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous lather. I really like Omnibus. I like a lot of Will's scents, and so I'm glad to see that Omnibus here didn't go the same buttery, oily way that some of the newer bases have gone. This is just I'm Really happy to see that. I don't mind the kind of fuzzy, oily, buttery kind of lathers, but I just like these a lot more. I don't have oily skin. I don't have dry skin problems, and so I don't need the highly moisturizing agents that they're putting in some of the newer bases. Those of you who do, I'm glad for you, right? Because you're getting more and more soap bases that are going to be good for you. So, Smoking Bishop, just a wonderful, wonderful scent. I could wear it. I could shave with it all year. He did change his containers. The first ones I noticed were the War series, and it's the same shape, the same size as those Pet G containers with the clear on the bottom and the shiny black tops. But you see, this is more of a matte black, and it's got some flex to it. And then this is a slightly different. It's not that clear bottom, of course. Probably to save money, you know. Now I do know those other Pet G. They look so professional. They look so great. But I know that many of them would get damaged on their way to him because they were so susceptible to that. And so that might be a lot of the reason why he switched containers. And so the container quality doesn't seem quite as good as it used to be, just because he's having to pick, you know, this type of material instead. However, that's just a small gripe, right? Because what's most important is what's inside. And then if you set these, and it's always nice when you have something attractive, a nice big label to do that. And that does kind of hide the material. So that's good. That's good. That's just a small gripe. How much water did I end up using? I probably should have used a little bit more. 21 milliliters of water. Some year I'm going to say milliliters without saying milligrams first. Some year I will finally get to that. I did not use a product yet. For my post shave, should I use? Yeah, why not? Splash just a little bit of water on my face to help the balm to spread lightly and easily. We'll see if Agar, which is an oud type of scent, will work with the Smoking Bishop. Nice close cut. Face feels great, no irritation. I did have a little bit of tenderness somewhere, and I think that's because I should have added a little bit more water to that first pass. I just shaved with it when it was a little too dry. And some guys, that's what they shave with. Hey, if you like what you like, go for it. But I think some guys just don't know what they're missing. So what did I say? 22? Yeah, 22 milliliters used. That was a 25-second load on the soap, and it turned out to be plenty. Plenty. With this brush. You know, you do know that if you change brushes, that can affect your load time if the brushes differ in terms of backbone, in terms of tip feel, tip softness. That can change your load times. That's why some guys use the scoop method, because it's more consistent. They'll scoop out a certain amount and press it into the bottom of their bowl. I used to do that a while back. You of course have to do it with samples, but some guys do it just all the time. But I prefer loading from the puck. All right. So the titanium razor here, I always like to answer this question because so many times it's asked. There's a stainless steel version. There's also a bronze version like this, and I have the bronze version. I really like it. It's a different head, and so that would be a reason you might use one or the other. But the stainless steel head is the same exact dimensions and shaving geometry and all that. So why would you want the titanium if it costs more than the stainless steel? Well, what if you like the girth, the width of this handle? You like some people think of this as a kind of a chunky head. What if you like the appearance of it, but it's just a little too heavy? And so you feel like it's more nimble if you have a lighter version of that same thing. And that is what titanium is when you compare it with stainless steel. It's a lighter version of, it can be a lighter version of the same thing. And it is going to last longer than the stainless steel, so there is that. But that would be a legitimate reason to purchase a stainless steel version. I mean, the titanium version of a stainless steel razor. Of course, if you just have the money, then that you don't need a reason, right? But if you're trying to justify it, some people wonder if they should save up, for a titanium razor. I say save up and keep your eye out on the secondary market, because that's what I did, and I got a good deal. I'm putting my razor over here on the little cloth to dry out. Let's give the brush a good rinse out. The Agar, by the way, is working wonderfully with both the smoke in the air, the tobacco smell that's in the air, as well as the smoking bishop that's on my face. Here we are at the end of the shave. Got a nice pipe to enjoy and talk to you about stuff. But I kind of feel like I've already said everything, so we're not gonna waste anybody's time. But I do like the fact that this shaving ritual takes a little while, and it can be a relaxing therapeutic ritual, and pipe smoking is kind of similar in that regard. This is the graphite color. You can kind of see, yeah, there you go. You can kind of see some of the bits that are in there to give it that lotus handle. Again, I don't think this shave has taught me I'm not liking the lotus handle. That's just too uncomfortable right there for how I grip the brush. It's not comfortable, enjoyable at all. I think I could deal with these tips. And so this knot code would be one I might put on the acceptable list. But I kind of have faith that there's a better one out there with softer tips and not quite as much density backbone due to the density. So, but I bought this used, so I should be able to sell it for about what I bought it for. So that's great. I will, though, go ahead and confirm and reiterate that the Persona Platinum, no, the Gillette Platinum, was a blade for today. Pretty young with just its second use, was a wonderful performer in the razor. It was close cutting, but highly comfortable. Probably better on its second use than its first. And I easily put 10 or 12 uses through these before they even show a hint of not agreeing with more shaves. But I do recall the Platinum being a little bit more finicky than like the Gillette Silver Blues and some of the other Gillette blades. And that, I think, is it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I just wish you all the best. Take care now. Hey, I matched the shower curtain, my shirt. All right. You guys take care. Good night.